Good day everyone, I'm King Shinaratuk and my report is about weather's basics. Introduction to cloud physics, nucleation, growth, and distribution. Next is solar radiation and Earth's energy balance. So first is cloud. Cloud is a visible mass of condensed water vapor floating in the atmosphere, typically high above the ground. How clouds are formed. Clouds form when moist, warm rising air cools and expands in the atmosphere. The vapor in the air condenses to form tiny droplets in which are the basis of clouds. Clouds are created when water vapor, an invisible gas, turns into liquid water droplets. These water droplets form on tiny particles like dust that are floating in the air. Why clouds have different colors? The different colors of the clouds are depending on the light of the sun. The clouds having dark color because the light of the sun cannot pass throughout the clouds. You can observe that in the night, the clouds have dark color because there is no light or enough light. The white clouds like cotton we see is that the light is evenly distributed in the clouds until the bottom of it. But sometimes you can see the dark clouds in the day because sunlight cannot pass through the clouds or not having enough light. Next is type of clouds. Cloud is a visible accumulation of a minute droplets of water, ice crystals, or both suspended in the air. Though they vary in shape and size, all clouds are basically formed in the same way through the vertical of air above the condensation level. Clouds may also form in contact with the ground surface too. Such a cloud will be known as fog, ice fog, or mist. It is divided into three types: high-level clouds, mid-level clouds, low-level clouds. At this picture, we can see the common types of clouds in the tropics. High-level clouds are composed of cirrus, cirrocumulus, and cirrostratus. It has an altitude of 5 km to 13 km from the Earth's surface. First is cirrus. The word cirrus comes from the Latin word for curl of hair. Cirrus is one of the most common types of clouds that can be seen at any time of the year. They are thin and wispy with a silky sheen appearance. Ice clouds, also called cirrus clouds, are made up of ice crystals and start to form at altitude of 5.5 km in temperate regions and 6.5 km in tropical regions, making them the highest clouds in the troposphere. Next is cirrocumulus. The word cumulus comes from the Latin term for pile or heap. Cirrocumulus, they are sometimes called mackerel skies because they can sometimes have a grayish color which makes the clouds look a bit like fish scales. Cirrocumulus, among the most gorgeous out there. These usually form at about 5 km above the surface with small white fluff patterns that spread out for miles and miles over the sky. Cirrostratus. In Latin words, stratus means to spread out. Cirrostratus have a sheet-like appearance that can look like a curly blanket covering the sky. They are quiet, translucent, which makes it easy for the sun or the moon to peer through. Their color varies from the light gray to white, and the fibrous bands can vary widely in thickness. Purely white cirrostratus clouds signify these have stored moistures, indicating the presence of a warm frontal system. They sit very low, and some people call them high fogs. These clouds are most commonly seen in the winter and can cause the appearance of a halo around the sun of the moon. Mid-level clouds are composed of altocumulus, altostratus, and nimbostratus. It has an altitude of 2 km up to 7 km from the Earth's surface. First is altocumulus. Altocumulus form at a lower altitude, so they are largely made of water droplets, though they may retain ice crystals when forming higher up. Altocumulus clouds usually form by convection in an unstable layer aloft, which may result from the gradual lifting of air in advance of a cold front. The presence of altocumulus clouds on a warm and humid summer morning is commonly followed by thunderstorm later in the day. Next is altostratus. Altostratus are gray or blue-gray mid-level clouds composed of ice crystals and water droplets. Altostratus often spread out thousands of square miles and are strongly linked to light rain or snow. Though they are not capable of yielding heavy rain, it's common for altostratus clouds to morph into nimbostratus clouds, which are packed with moisture and can deliver a pounding. They are made of liquid water, but they don't often produce rain. Altostratus is formed by the lifting of a large, mostly stable air mass that caused invisible water vapor to condense into cloud. Next is nimbostratus. Nimbo is from the Latin word nimbus, which denotes cloud or halo. Nimbostratus form as a result of the gradual accumulation of moist area over a large area as the warm and moist area higher up in the atmosphere, where it condenses. Nimbostratus cloud is a multi-level, gray, often dark, amorphous, nearly uniform cloud that usually produces continuous rain, snow, or sleet, but no lightning or thunder. Although it is usually a low-based cloud, it actually forms most commonly in the middle level of the troposphere, and then spreads vertically into the low and high levels. Nimbostratus usually produce precipitation over a wide area. Nimbostratus has a diffuse cloud base, generally found anywhere from near surface in the low levels to about 3,000 meters or 9,800 feet. Nimbostratus is generally a sign of an approaching warm or occluded front producing steady moderate precipitation. Next is low-level clouds. Low-level clouds are composed of stratus, cumulus, cumulonimbus, and stratocumulus. It has an altitude of 0 km up to 2 km from the Earth's surface. Stratus. In Latin word stratus means to spread out. Stratus clouds composed of thin layers of clouds covering a large area of the sky. This is simply mist or fog when it forms close to the ground. Stratus clouds are uniform and flat, producing a gray layer of cloud cover which may be precipitation free or may cause periods of light precipitation or drizzle. Stratus is usually accompanied by little to no rainfall, but if it is thick enough, it can produce light drizzle. This drizzle can also fall in the form of light snow if cold enough. Stratus clouds are the lowest type found in the troposphere. They are often found at ground level as fog or mist. Stratus is used to describe flat, featureless clouds of low altitude, typically less than 300 meters. On the other hand, fog is a stratus cloud in contact with the ground. Cumulus. Cumulus, it is the most recognizable out of all types of clouds. These adorable piles of cotton form a large mass with a well-defined rounded edge, which explains the name cumulus, which is Latin word for heap or pile. Cumulus clouds are puffy clouds that sometimes look like pieces of floating cotton. The base of each cloud is often flat and may be only 1,000 meters or 3,300 feet above the ground. The top of the cloud has rounded towers. Mostly cumulus indicates fair weather, often popping up on the bright sunny days, though if conditions allow, cumulus can grow into towering cumulus, congestus, or cumulonimbus clouds, which can produce showers. Cumulonimbus, from Latin cumulus, heaped, and nimbus, rainstorm. Cumulonimbus is fluffy and white like cumulus, but the cloud formation are far larger. It is a vertical developing type of cloud whose base grows from 1 up to 8 kilometers. Hence, it's commonly called a tower cloud. The rain comes and goes with this cloud, but when it does, it can come pouring. Cumulonimbus forming from water vapor carried by powerful upward air currents. If observed during a storm, these clouds may be referred to as thunderheads. Cumulonimbus can form alone, in clusters, or along cold front squall lines. These clouds are capable of producing lightning and other dangerous severe weather, such as tornadoes and hailstones. When you see a cumulonimbus, you know there's a thunderstorm waiting to happen somewhere. Towering cumulonimbus clouds are typically accompanied by smaller cumulus clouds, and cumulonimbus is the most dangerous cloud in the world. Stratocumulus looks like a thick white blanket of stretched out cotton. They resemble cumulus clouds, except they are far bigger. The base is well defined and flat, but the upper part of the cloud is rugged due to convection with the cloud itself. Depending on the thickness of the cloud, a stratocumulus will have light to dark gray hues. A stratocumulus cloud, occasionally called a cumulus stratus, belongs to a genus type of clouds characterized by large dark, rounded masses, usually in groups, lines, or waves, the individual elements being larger than those in altocumulus, and the whole being at a lower height, usually below 2,000 meters or 6,600 feet. Most often, stratocumulus produce no precipitation, and when they do, it is generally only light rain or snow. However, these clouds are often seen at either the front of tail end of worse weather, so they may indicate storms to come in the form of thunderheads or gusty winds. Solar radiation is radiant energy emitted by the sun from a nuclear fusion that creates electromagnetic energy. Electromagnetic radiation is a form of energy that is all around us and takes many forms. Sunlight is also a form of electromagnetic energy, but visible light is only a small portion of the electromagnetic spectrum, which contains a broad range of electromagnetic wavelengths. The spectrum of solar radiation is close to that of a black body with temperature of about 5,800 K. About half of the radiation is in the visible shortwave part of the electromagnetic spectrum. The incoming solar radiation is known as insolation. The amount of solar energy reaching the Earth is 70%. The surface of the Earth absorbs 51% of the insolation, water vapor, and thus account for 16% of the energy absorbed. What are the effects of solar radiations? Excessive exposure to the sun is known to be associated with increased risk of various skin cancers, cataracts, and other eye diseases, as well as accelerated skin aging. It may also adversely affect people's ability to resist infectious diseases and compromise the effectiveness of vaccination programs. Next is Earth's energy balance. Describes how the incoming energy from the sun is used and returned to space. If incoming and outgoing energy are in balance, the Earth's temperature remains constant. The energy balance drives the weather and life on Earth. Essentially, 100% of the energy that fuels the Earth comes from the sun. To maintain a constant global average temperature, all of the sun's radiation that enters Earth's atmosphere must eventually be sent back to space. This is achieved through Earth's energy balance. In this picture, depicts how the energy from the sun is absorbed, reflected, and emitted by the Earth. As we can see in this picture, 20% scattered and reflected by clouds, 51% absorbed by Earth, 19% absorbed by atmosphere and clouds, 6% scattered from atmosphere, and 4% reflected by the surface. And that's all. Thank you.